The night they cornered her, she didn't scream. She didn't beg. She didn't tremble. She simply lifted her chin and stared into the eyes of the wolves who had mocked her since childhood. Wolves who thought she would always be the powerless Omega at the bottom of the pack. But the moon saw something else. It flared above her, silver and bright, and for the first time in her life, her wolf answered. The air cracked, shadows rippled. A pulse of power erupted from her chest so violently, the ground itself split open. The wolves who came to break her staggered back, and from the tree line, a growl cut through the forest, deep, brutal, unmistakably alpha. The Moonlit Pack's ruler stepped into view, eyes blazing gold, aura crushing the night. He stared at her as if he'd been waiting his whole life to see her rise. Lyora, his voice trembled. Goddess, help us all. You're awakening. And in that heartbeat, the weak Omega became something they could no longer ignore. The girl Destiny had chosen to stand beside an alpha king. Before we continue, drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss the next chapter of this world. Lyora of the Ashenwood Pack was born small, not just small in stature, small in aura, small in voice, small in the ways wolves measured worth. Her wolf never surfaced during childhood, not during the first moon, not during the rites of passage, not during the countless training sessions where she was knocked down again and again. Every failure carved deeper into her reputation. Lyora the silent, Lyora the shiftless, Lyora the weak. Her pack didn't merely underestimate her, they weaponized it. She was given the lowest work, the coldest room, the harshest punishments. Every bruise became a reminder that strength was everything, and she had none. But the moon keeps secrets. The living forget. Because Lyora was not born without a wolf. She was born with one too powerful to awaken without consequence. Her mother had known. Before she died, she whispered a final warning. When your wolf wakes, she will not whisper, she will roar, and the world will try to silence her. Lyora didn't believe it. Not until the day everything changed. The Moonlit Pack's Alpha King, Caden Thorn, arrived in Ashenwood territory, seeking alliances. The pack held a grand feast, wolves boasting, showing their strength. And Lyora? She was scrubbing floors in the lower hall, until the door opened, until footsteps approached, until a shadow fell over her. She froze, breath-catching. Alpha Caden stood before her, tall, powerful, aura shimmering like molten silver. But it wasn't his strength that made her look away. It was the way he looked at her, as if he sensed something she didn't understand. Your aura, he murmured. It's strange, quiet, but deep. Lyora backed up. Alpha, forgive me. I shouldn't be in your way. Before he could ask more, Ashenwood's Alpha called him away, blocking Lyora from view, as if ashamed of her existence. And she knew, no matter how long she lived, no matter how many days she endured, she would never be anything more than the weak Omega no one wanted. But destiny doesn't need permission. It only needs a moment. And Lyora's moment arrived on the coldest night of winter, in the forest. Surrounded by wolves who despised her, when the moon decided it was time, she rose. The forest was colder that night than any winter Lyora remembered. Frost clung to the bark like silver veins. Snow muffled the world into eerie stillness. The moon hung heavy, too bright, too watchful. Lyora tightened her threadbare cloak around her shoulders as she gathered firewood in the clearing beyond the pack's outer cabins. The job had been given to her because no one else wanted to endure the cold this late. Omegas didn't get choices. They got orders. Her breath fogged the air. Just a few more logs, she told herself. Then I can go back before the storm worsens. But the wind shifted. Voices drifted through the trees. She recognized them instantly. Taron, Marla, Drex, 3 wolves who had spent years reminding her of her place. Leora's stomach knotted. She kept her gaze down and continued stacking wood, praying they'd ignore her. They didn't. Well, well, Taron drawled as he stepped into the clearing. If it isn't our favorite little moon-blessed disappointment, Marla snickered. Careful, she might faint from lifting all that wood. Drex kicked at the pile, scattering the logs. Oops, weak hands, weak wolf, weak everything. Leora didn't look at them, didn't speak. Silence was her armor. But tonight her silence seemed to irritate them more than usual. Taron stepped close, his breath hot on her ear. You think being quiet makes you invisible? She flinched. It doesn't, he whispered. It just makes you easier to corner. The 3 of them circled her, wolves in human form, their predatory intentions clear as the rising moon. Leora forced herself to breathe. I don't want trouble, she murmured. Just let me work, Marla smirked. You calling us trouble? Drex cracked his knuckles. Someone needs to remind you of your place. Leora braced herself, but then a sudden gust tore through the clearing, powerful enough to rustle branches and scatter snow. The air thickened with pressure. The wolves paused. What was that? Marla whispered. Taron sniffed the air. The moon's aura shifted. Leora felt it too. A strange warmth flickered deep inside her chest, slow, hesitant, like a heartbeat that didn't belong to her. Then it happened again. Thrum, her knees buckled. Drex scowled. What's wrong with her? Leora clutched her chest, gasping. I don't know. But she did. Her wolf, the wolf she'd never been able to reach, the wolf she thought she didn't have, was waking. Panic surged. Not because she didn't want it, but because the stories were clear. A late awakening was never gentle, never painless. Her breath stuttered as warmth pooled in her ribs, spreading like wildfire. Taron took a step back. Her aura, look at her aura. Light shimmered around Leora, faint but visible. Icy blue edged with silver. No, Drex whispered. That's not possible. Marla shook her head violently. She doesn't have a wolf, she shouldn't. Leora's vision blurred as another pulse hit. Thrum. She screamed. The forest answered. The wind rose, snow spiraled. The moon's light sharpened, as if bending toward her. Then a roar shook the clearing, the kind of sound that made every wolf bow. Taron paled. That's the alpha of the Moonlit pack. Marla backed away. What's he doing here? But Drex didn't move. He wouldn't come for her. The trees at the edge of the clearing split open as a massive wolf stepped into view. Taller than any wolf Leora had ever seen, fur black as midnight, eyes burning molten gold. Before he shifted fully into his human form, his aura flooded the clearing, dominance so potent, it forced the others to their knees. Alpha Caden Thorn, king of the Moonlit pack. Leora could barely breathe as he approached, the ground trembling beneath his footsteps. He stopped right in front of her, his gaze locked onto hers. And he froze. His wolf surged behind his eyes, snarling, a sound not of anger, but recognition. Goddess, he breathed, voice low. It's you. Drex managed to choke out. Alpha, she's just an Omega. Caden growled, silencing him instantly. She is no Omega. He stepped closer, eyes scanning her aura with reverence and disbelief. She's awakening, his voice trembled. I felt it miles away. Leora shook, unsure whether to collapse or run. I don't know what's happening. Caden lifted a hand, slowly, giving her space to pull away. She didn't. His fingertips hovered inches from her cheek before settling with aching gentleness. "You have power," he whispered. "Ancient power. And it's breaking through the moment your wolf finally chose to rise." She blinked, breath hitching. "Chose me?" The alpha's expression softened, in a way that made Marla gasp and Taryn swallow hard. "Yes," Caden murmured. "She chose you, and I will not let anyone harm you for it." Drex snarled. "She's nothing." Caden's voice shifted, cold, lethal. "She is under my protection now. Touch her again, and you'll answer to me." Taryn and Marla scrambled away, terrified, but Drex hesitated. "You can't claim her," he spat. "She's not strong enough to be anything." Caden's eyes flashed gold. "Strength is not measured by what you see. It's measured by what she hasn't shown you yet." Leora felt tears sting her eyes. No one had ever spoken for her, or defended her, or even seen her. Until now. Caden extended his hand. "Come," he said softly. "Your awakening is only beginning. Let me help you." Leora stared at his hand, then at the wolves who had tormented her, then at the moon burning like a silent witness overhead. For the first time in her life, she stepped toward someone who believed she could be more, and the forest shifted around them, as if exhaling in relief. Caden didn't smile, but his aura warmed. "Good," he whispered. "Now let's see who you truly are." The moonlit Pax fortress rose like a cathedral carved from pure winter. Dark stone, silver spires, moon sigils glowing faintly along the walls. Wolves bowed as Alpha Caden led Leora through the gates, but she barely saw them. Her pulse thrummed too loudly. Her skin burned. Her senses sharpened with every step. Her wolf, silent her entire life, paced inside her chest like a creature testing its new cage. Caden stayed close, his aura wrapped around her like a steadying hand. "Breathe slowly," he murmured. "Your wolf is sensing territory for the first time." Leora swallowed. "She feels everything. And she should. You were never meant to be muted." Muted. The word stung more than she expected. Inside the great hall, the moonlit Pax Beta, Corvin, stepped forward. Tall, broad, silver-eyed, he radiated the cold efficiency of a warrior born and bred. "My king," he bowed. Then his gaze snapped to Leora. "You brought someone." Caden didn't hesitate. "This is Leora of Ashenwood." Corvin's brows rose at the name. "The Omega girl." He sniffed the air, then froze. "Her aura—" "Yes," Caden said quietly. "She awakened." Corvin straightened sharply. "That shouldn't be possible." "Yet here she stands," Caden replied. Corvin turned to Leora, studying her with wary respect. "What did you do?" "Nothing," she murmured. "I never asked for any of this." Caden glanced at her, eyes softening. "Magic doesn't ask for permission." Corvin nodded slowly. "We should call the shaman. If her wolf is as volatile as she feels." A sudden pulse ripped through Leora's body. Thrum! She gasped, grabbing the edge of a pillar. Caden was instantly at her side. "Leora, what is it?" I don't know. She's pushing again. She wants—" Another surge hit, harder. She cried out. Corvin's expression sharpened. "Her wolf is trying to break fully through. She's resisting a suppressed shift." Caden cursed under his breath. "Get her to the sanctuary chamber. Now!" Corvin sprinted ahead, while Caden scooped her into his arms. The moment his skin touched hers, the burning eased slightly. "What is happening?" she breathed. You're awakening too fast, he murmured. Your wolf is testing her limits, and if we don't contain it. He didn't finish. He didn't have to, because the magic inside her felt like a storm clawing to escape. They reached a circular chamber lined in glowing lunar runes. Corvin shut the door behind them, locking out the world. Caden lowered her to a bed of silver-coated furs, his eyes dark with concern. Listen to me, he said softly. Your wolf is powerful, dangerously so. If she pushes through without grounding, she could hurt herself. Or you. Leora trembled. How do I stop it? You don't. He knelt beside her. You guide it. The second pulse hit harder. Thrum. She arched off the furs, gasping. Caden caught her hand, dominance rolling off him like a warm tide. Focus on my voice. Her nails dug thus into his palm. I can't. Alpha. Not Alpha. His hand cupped her cheek, gentle but commanding. Caden, say my name. Her wolf purred at the sound of his heartbeat, at the heat rolling off him, at the safety his aura offered. Caden. The magic slowed, just a fraction. Good, he whispered. Again. The storm inside her obeyed him, more than it obeyed her. Caden. Her voice steadied. Her wolf listened. Open your senses, he murmured. Tell me what you feel. Leora's eyes fluttered. Everything. Your scent, the moon, the magic in these walls, the heartbeat of every wolf outside. It's all too much. Caden brushed a strand of hair from her face. You were never built to feel small. You were built to feel all. Her breath shuddered. I'm afraid. So was every alpha before they shifted for the first time. She looked up at him sharply. Are you saying, Edgar? I'm saying nothing is normal about your awakening. He held her gaze. It's stronger than anything I've seen. Corvin returned with the moon shaman, an elderly woman with silver hair and runic tattoos glowing faintly on her skin. She stepped into the chamber, eyes widening as she sensed Leora's aura. By the goddess, she whispered. This is no ordinary awakening. Leora flinched. What am I? The shaman studied her aura, then gasped softly. You carry the signature of the old blood. Caden tensed. Impossible. The old bloodline was wiped out generations ago. Not entirely, the shaman murmured. She is proof. Leora stared between them. What does that mean? It means, the shaman said gently, your wolf carries magic tied to the first lunar queens, the ones whose power could bend moonlight itself. The chamber fell silent. Leora's heart pounded. That can't be true. You were never just anything, Caden said. She swallowed hard. Why me? The shaman smiled sadly. Because destiny does not choose the strongest. It chooses the one most capable of surviving the fire. Another surge hit her. Caden held her down gently. The shaman knelt beside them. We must guide her wolf out slowly. If the shift completes too fast, her body will not be ready. How do we slow it? Caden demanded. The shaman placed a glowing hand over Leora's heart. With an anchor. Caden stiffened. Me? The shaman nodded. Her wolf responds to your aura above all else. You are her stabilizing force. Leora felt a strange heat bloom inside her chest. Desire, an instinct, and something deeper. I don't understand, she whispered. The shaman met her gaze. Your wolf trusts him. A pause. And so do you. Before Leora could answer, the door burst open. A guard stumbled in, panting. Alpha, bad news. Ashenwood has issued a demand. They want Leora, Returned immediately, or they'll consider it a territorial violation. Caden rose slowly, too calm, too cold. They can consider what they like. His voice dropped to a lethal growl. She's under my protection now. But Alpha, the guard stammered. They say she belongs to them. Caden looked back at Leora, glowing, trembling, fighting to hold her wolf inside. No, his voice echoed with dominance that shook the walls. She belongs to herself, and the Moonlit pack will defend her with everything we have. His eyes locked onto hers, fierce and unyielding. You are not going back. Her breath caught. And for the first time in her life, someone wasn't claiming ownership of her weakness. They were claiming ownership of her power. Ashenwood's ultimatum spread through the Moonlit pack like a winter storm. Some wolves growled in outrage. Others paced the training yard, eager for war. But all of them watched Leora, the girl who had arrived trembling, and now stood at the center of the great hall with power flickering beneath her skin. The seal on her wolf had not fully given way yet, but cracks glowed along her ribs like silver lightning. The shaman monitored her constantly. Corvin stood guard at the door, and Caden. Caden remained close enough that she felt his presence even when she didn't see him. He approached her now, closing the massive hall doors behind him as he stepped inside. Leora, he said softly, are you in pain? She shook her head, though the truth was more complicated. It's not pain, she whispered, more like pressure, like my wolf is pacing inside my chest. That's normal, the shaman murmured from her corner. She is studying her new boundaries, testing your courage. Leora's hand brushed her heart unconsciously. She's strong. She is, Caden said. And so are you, Leora blinked. You keep saying that. I keep saying it because you still don't believe it. Her breath caught. Caden's honesty had a way of tearing down guard walls she'd built her whole life. Before she could answer, Corvin burst through the doors. Alpha! Ashenwood warriors are approaching our borders. Caden stiffened. How many? 20. Armed. They claim they're here to escort Leora home by force. Caden's aura flared, shaking the torches lining the hall. No one escorts her anywhere. We should prepare a defensive line, Corvin said. Do it, Caden growled. But keep everyone tight and close. No one attacks unless I command it. Corvin bowed and rushed out. Leora stepped forward, fear tightening her chest. They're coming for me. Yes, Caden said. Because they fear what you'll become. I'm not a threat. Caden turned to her, eyes dark with conviction. To them you are, because they know exactly what they have lost. His hand hovered near her cheek, not quite touching, just close enough to steady her. You are awakening into a wolf who carries ancient magic, he said. You are reclaiming strength they tried to bury. A pause. They don't want to lose control over you. Leora swallowed hard. If I stay here, won't that bring war? If war comes, it will be their choice. His voice lowered, soft but absolute. Not because of you. She exhaled shakily. Caden, I don't want wolves to die for me. And I don't want to live in a world where wolves like you are condemned for being powerful. Her heart struggled to remain steady. Before she could speak, the shaman strode toward her with surprising urgency. Leora, she said, your wolf senses the threat. She may force a premature shift. Leora paled. I'm not ready. She knows, the shaman said gently. But wolves choose survival, not comfort. A thrum of magic pulsed beneath Leora's skin. Hot, electric, restless. She gasped and gripped the edge of a carved pillar. Caden. He caught her instantly, one hand at her back, the other steadying her trembling shoulder. It's happening again, she whispered. The shaman placed a glowing palm over Leora's sternum. Her wolf wants out. She wants to defend her territory. She has no control, Leora cried. If I shift, You will not harm us, Caden said, voice calm and firm. Because you are not alone. Her vision blurred. The chamber dissolved. Only Caden remained clear. Focus on me, he murmured. Hear my voice. Breathe through the magic. The wolf inside her clawed at the seal, light flashing beneath her skin. Caden, she's fighting me. No, he whispered, pulling her closer. She's fighting for you. The shaman nodded. Anchor her. She needs your aura. Caden pressed his forehead to hers. His breath mingled with hers. A warmth spread between their chests, weaving through her panic. You're safe, he said. Your wolf knows I stand with her. Leora choked on a sob. She's scared. So talk to her. Leora closed her eyes. Inside, her wolf prowled, massive, silver-furred, fierce and trembling. Leora reached inward, voice trembling. I'm here. I'm listening. You're not trapped anymore. You're not alone. Her wolf hesitated, then nudged her. A surge of connection nearly knocked her to her knees. Caden tightened his arms around her. Leora, what is it? She's asking something. What? Leora's breath shook. She wants to know if you're her alpha. Silence thickened between them. Caden's fingers brushed her jaw. Softly, reverently, he whispered, I am whatever you need me to be. Her wolf roared approval. Light erupted from Leora's chest, silver blue flames dancing along her skin. The shaman stumbled back in awe. Caden held her firm, bracing her as the power surged. The seal cracked, a sound like glass fracturing through her ribs. Leora screamed. Caden pulled her against him, aura flaring to shield her. Stay with me! His voice was rough. Leora, stay! The magic exploded outward. A shockwave that rattled the hall and shattered every candle flame. Leora collapsed against him, breathing hard, skin shimmering with faint runes. The shaman's eyes widened. It's begun. What has? Caden demanded. The emergence of the Luna's wolf. Caden's growl vibrated through her. Luna? He breathed. She's... Yes, the shaman whispered, voice shaking. She carries the mark of a true Luna Queen. Before anyone could speak further, a horn blasted outside, followed by the roar of angry wolves. Corvin burst into the chamber. Alpha, Ashenwood forces have reached the gates. He pointed out the window. And they brought a sorcerer. Caden's expression turned lethal. Prepare the pack, he commanded. Leora stays behind the barrier with the shaman. No, Leora said, staggering upright. I'm coming with you. Caden froze. You're barely stable. If your wolf surges... She's not surging, Leora said softly. She's choosing. He stared at her, at the new glow under her skin, at the wolf who had finally spoken, at the power she carried now without fear. Then he nodded once, slow, fierce, devoted. Then you stand with me. He offered his hand. She took it. And together they marched toward the gates. Toward the wolves who once called her weak, toward the pack that wanted to reclaim her as property. Toward the war her awakening had unleashed. The gates of the Moonlit pack stood tall and arched, flanked by stone wolves carved centuries ago, guardians of power, legacy, and bloodlines long forgotten. Tonight, they watched a new legend unfold. Snow whipped across the courtyard as Ashenwood warriors formed a jagged line beyond the border, Their armor gleamed with frost, their eyes glowed with wolf fire. And at their center stood a hooded sorcerer, dark runes swirling around his hands like black smoke. Corvin snarled from the ramparts. They brought a spellcaster to steal her back. Caden's aura crackled with danger as he moved forward, Leora at his side. No one steals what they failed to destroy. He raised a hand. The gates opened with a thunderous groan. The Moonlit warriors lined up behind their Alpha King, but their attention wasn't on him. It was on her. Every wolf felt it. The shift in the air, the pulse of magic, the soft silver-blue glow radiating beneath Leora's skin like a rising dawn. A few whispered, "The Omega girl? She's changed. No, she's awakening." Leora stepped into the courtyard, the cold wind tugging at her hair. Her wolf paced inside her, larger now, stronger, no longer chained. Ashenwood's alpha, Garen, stepped forward with a snarl. "Leora," his voice boomed across the snow. "Return to your pack immediately. You belong to us." Caden laughed, a low, vicious sound. "She doesn't belong to you. She never did." Garen growled. "Stand aside, Moonlit King. She is property of Ashenwood." That word, property, ignited something inside her. A spark, a growl, a rising fury that wasn't entirely her own. Leora stepped past Caden before he could stop her. "I am not your property," she said, voice trembling, but strong. "I never was," Garen scoffed. "You? A wolf who never shifted? A creature we sheltered out of pity?" Leora inhaled, slow, steady, and let her wolf show her teeth. "I needed shelter because you broke me," she said. "But I'm not broken anymore." Garen's lip curled. "We can fix that." The sorcerer beside him lifted his hands, runes swirling. Caden snarled, "Don't you dare!" But he was too late. A blast of shadow magic streaked through the air toward Leora, dark, crackling, deadly. She gasped, her wolf roared, and the runes under her skin erupted in brilliant silver-blue light. The magic hit her and shattered like glass. Wolves on both sides stumbled back in shock. The sorcerer gasped, "Impossible! She carries ancient resistance." Caden's voice thundered across the snow. "She carries the old bloodline." Garen froze. "You lie." Leora exhaled, the light fading back into her skin. It felt like breathing for the first time. "No," she whispered. "It's the truth you tried to bury." The sorcerer hissed and unleashed a second spell. Faster, stronger, aimed straight at her heart. Caden lunged to intercept it. But Leora stepped forward and raised her hand. Silver flames exploded from her palm. Pure, lunar magic, and collided with the spell mid-air. Light clashed with shadow. Magic screamed. The snow trembled. And then the sorcerer's spell disintegrated completely. Ashenwood wolves stumbled back, some falling to their knees. Corvin whispered, stunned, "Moonfire, only lunar queens could wield that." Caden looked at Leora with raw awe, voice breaking. "You're incredible." Her cheeks flushed, but her wolf preened. Garen trembled with fury. "This is a trick. She is nothing but a weakling you corrupted." Leora's eyes sharpened. She walked toward him, every step steady and sure. "I am not weak," she said. "Not because of power, not because of magic." She stopped in front of him, gaze burning. "I am strong because I survived you." The wind stilled. Garen swung his arm, claws out. But before he touched her, Caden's aura slammed into him like a tidal wave. The Alpha King shifted mid-leap, his massive black wolf landing between her and Garen, with a roar that cracked the ice beneath their feet. Garen skidded back, eyes wide with terror. Caden's wolf stood tall and monstrous, fur bristling, fangs bared, eyes glowing molten gold. The message was clear. Touch her, and you die. The sorcerer tried to cast again, but Leora raised her hand, moonfire swirling around her fingertips. Enough! Her wolf surged. A blast of silver light erupted from beneath her feet, rippling through the snow in a wide circle. It threw the sorcerer to the ground. It knocked Ashenwood wolves off their feet. It extinguished every lingering shadow spell. The air went silent. Her wolf whispered inside her. Let them see who you are. Leora stepped to Caden's side, her aura intertwining with his. Garen coughed, struggling to rise. You're dangerous. Leora nodded. Yes. Caden shifted back into human form beside her, breath steaming in the cold. She is dangerous, he said. To anyone who tries to chain her. Corvin and the Moonlit warriors raised their weapons. The shaman bowed deeply. Garen looked at the ground, defeated. Take her, he spat. She's yours. She was never worth the war. Leora exhaled shakily. Caden's hand found hers. Say the word, he murmured, and I will chase them from our borders myself. Leora shook her head. No, let them leave. They are not worth bloodshed. Garen gave one last hateful glare before retreating. With his warriors and the fallen sorcerer, snow fell quietly as the moonlit pack watched them vanish into the forest. Then Corvin knelt. One by one, wolves followed, bowing their heads to her. Caden turned to her, eyes shining with something close to devotion. Leora, he whispered, you saved us all. Her voice trembled. We saved each other. He took her hands. Then stay, he said softly. Rule beside me, not as an Omega, but as the Luna this pack has been waiting for. Her wolf pushed her forward. Leora smiled, small, bright, fierce. I accept. The pack roared, howls echoing across the mountains, honoring their new Luna. And for the first time in her life, Leora didn't feel small. She felt infinite. Once called weak, she now stood crowned in moonfire. Luna of the Moonlit pack, equal to its king, and destined to rewrite every rule that once broke her.